yeah, we're just really excited to have you guys all here. Thank you for coming. And so we're here to see the 3D movie of our new facility plans. And I'm really excited to show them all to you. I would like to tell you guys, we have drinks in the back station. There's punch and coffee and tea back there. Servers will be coming around with your prime rib, which is I'm sure what you're all waiting for too. We've been smelling it all day and it's just been absolutely just divine. We've been torturing the children with it. You've all been coming up, what's for lunch? It's beef stew. What? So yeah, the poor kids. But bathrooms are downstairs. You go down and you have to go through the classroom. If you go straight, you're going to hit my refrigerators. I don't think you want to go there. But around Mr. Wells' science room, straight down the hall, there's a purple panda bear, I believe, on the staff toilet. If that's locked, keep going down the hall. Down, try to go in the staff toilet. So you can see from just the tour of your facilities here that we desperately need an upgrade. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know how many of you have been to our other campus, but yes, an upgrade is definitely necessary. So you will see from these wonderful designs just how hard Boone and Seth and Nikki and how many is on the team? Sage. Sage have been working their tails off. So apparently they were up until 3 a.m. finalizing this presentation. So this is
open the presentation.
So we'll go through kind of our little agenda here. So soup is coming around. It is homemade roasted pepper and tomato soup. This is what we serve the children too. I don't know if anybody saw the news. KHON2 did a segment with us on our meals program. Yeah. So.
On the Big Island, a group of charter schools have come together in an effort to cut lunch costs. The Charter School Food Hui. It's made up of the Hawaii Academy of Arts and Science, Kona Pacific Charter School, and Volcano School of Arts and Sciences.
We're going to be procuring together so that we can reduce the expense each individual charter school has to spend on their food program and get more for less. We have 3 farmers currently who are supplying us with food regularly. So they grow their food to produce just for our school and our supplies.
Volcano is one of about 24 Hawaii schools that are taking part in a federal program that provides free meals to students regardless of their family's income. However, that doesn't mean the school doesn't pay anything. In fact, last year, Volcano took out $60,000 from its budget to pay for the meals program. One cost-cutting measure, students taking part in the process of actually making their own meals.
We have our cooking class, and they learn how to cook breakfast items, lunch items, dinner items.
These are all actual lunches made up and served by the students.
It's been a favorite all the way around. In fact, I had a couple of students say, "Hey, Miss Amelie, I'm making what we learned about in cooking class for dinner tonight for my family."
And they love it because they get to eat it.
Yeah, food tastes even better when you're the one making it.
My name is Kalima Chayer, the principal of the school, Volcano School of Arts and Sciences, which is a public charter school. It is a public school. So we do receive, the majority of our funding comes from the state funding, which is, I always like to plug this, it is not out of the DOE budget, and we are not under the DOE, so separate line item. So that's this box right here, the Volcano School. And we are, all charter schools are governed locally by our governing board, and we have some governing board members here. So if you're on the governing board and you're here, can you raise your hand, please? And so then what we have is our nonprofit. So Friends of the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences is a nonprofit with the mission of basically to support the growth and sustainability of the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences. So their primary big task right now is managing this whole project for us. So I hope that helps to explain a little bit the distinction between the Friends versus the school, which is a state agency. Back structure of the project. So over here under Friends, we have our Keakealani Campus Development Committee, and then that will oversee our contractor project manager, which will be pretty soon in a couple of months putting that RFP out, and then that project manager will be overseeing the subcontractors. And then over here we have the governing board still has this collaborative relationship, and also as the client, basically, the governing board is the client of this project, and then also has collaboration with the development committee, and then our facilities committee also will be collaborating as well. And then under here, supporting, we have the school personnel. So school personnel, not directly supporting, but
Go ahead, pass. So our Friends board, is everybody here? Everybody raise their hands who's on the Friends board? All right, yeah. Yay! Have been working so hard to get this entire campus development going, and Kalima's just been powering through a lot of stuff.
a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yes. Okay, so the mission of the Volcano School of Arts and Sciences is learning through volcanoes' unique natural and cultural resources to become creative global citizens. So that is, as you can tell, a place-based mission. So we're very much about learning from the place where we are here. So just a little overview. Right now we have kindergarten through 8th grade, 176 students. Maximum capacity is 180. This is including a new program that we added, which is it's called the Keakealani Community-Based Education Program to support children who learn at home, so they're not coming to school every day. And then also next year we'll be adding a pre-K. Go ahead. So basically our students are about half-half gender, although some classrooms you wouldn't know it because they have a majority boys and majority girls, but school-wide we're about half-half. In our area of residents, we have about 37% coming from the volcano area and the greater volcano area, not just in the village. And then about 34% coming from communities in Ka'u, as far as Nalehu and Ocean View. And then we have about 24% coming from Glenwood down in Puna, Mountain View. And actually we do have some students all the way to Hoa, and then we have a few students in Gila. Back up, sorry, the ethnicity is about 4. So this is by the federal report. So primary ethnicity, when people have to pick one. So when they pick one, which nobody is one, hardly, right? We get 45% white, 32% Native Hawaiian, and 9% Filipino, 14% other. When we ask the families, are you Native Hawaiian? Is your child Native Hawaiian? We get 39% that say yes. So we have about 66% of our students come from the low socioeconomic status as defined by the federal government. And special education, we have about 11% right now students identified as special needs. So the next section is going to be the timeline of events for this project, and we're going to ask Lynn if you can. Sure. Okay, do you want to come up?
I'll just stand here.
Okay. And I'll take a moment and say Lynn has been amazing, basically volunteering a tremendous amount of time to, her title is, what is your title?
Coordinator?
Yeah.
She's the coordinator in chief.
Planning coordinator to basically define this space, but she's a project manager right now, basically.
Right, so what I'm doing is I'm kind of organizing the project on all the plans and getting the timeline set up and all the organizational types of things together. And so I will be very busy until those permits go in.
And Lynn's expertise is that she has worked for a long time as a federal contracting officer, so she brings expertise to this project. So she's going to present on our timeline if you can see it from there.
I can't, I have my glasses on. Okay, so going back, August 2012, of course, the lease was secured, and as was the grant in aid in 2014. I'm just reading through this. And then there was a community event on 2013 in February, and the planning and permitting actually is, that began, that's, I mean, we're in that process of preparing all those planning and permitting documents. In 2015, of course, the leadership changed.
Of both the school and the Friends.
Yes,
Yeah, both
yes.
coordinators.
And so there was a turnover let's see, there was a, this is just back stuff. The permitting process had been stopped, and so it didn't go to full committee at the time. So last spring, just before I joined, actually, the first board was worked on the RFP for the architect services, and as a result, then I believe it was July, the award went to Boone Morrison Architects. We've been working with them ever since. And let's see, so that covers
Next slide.
all of that. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, we got that. September, community planning. There was another community planning meeting held. And then I joined in October. Yeah. And November, yes, we contracted with Stantec, and they're doing our engineering assessment. Very good organization. And we're in the process of doing a lot of documents and getting the initial consultation and getting a response to that, which has been really helpful in that process. And I have not been involved with the EA process before, so it's very interesting to see how all the puzzle pieces are fitting together. It's making a lot more sense than it did back in October. So anyway, so from December to the present, we have the master plan and the engineering schematics are listed. So that's pretty much up to date. And here we are. And our engineering services are being done by engineering partners. Yes.
So going forward, so this is January right now, so this is everything that we've kind of got going on and down the road here. You see that big red mark where it says June? That's our deadline. As we have until the end of June to spend our first 2012 grant and aid, which we've had extended now twice because we couldn't meet some of the deadlines. And so the end of June is our deadline to get $618,000 spent, and that is for planning and design purposes. We are currently on track to be doing that. So we need to get our engineering schematics need to be complete, which that's just about, they're going forward. So by the end of February, capital improvement plan will be implemented, and our RFP will be written up for the project manager so that we can give him a break. And so hopefully we'll have all of that done by the end of March here. Our environmental assessment study has been pegged about mid-May to be complete. And then right now we're also getting our use permit. He's writing that up concurrently with currently the EA. So as soon as the EA is complete, then he'll put in the use permit, and that should be a month of going back and forth, maybe 2 months. And as soon as that's done, we can get our building permit and we can get things going here. So
That's where the
gradually,
RFP for construction.
that's RFP for construction will be rolled out, yeah, as soon as we have an idea of everything. And then groundbreaking phase 1, and that would be the grubbing and grading. So tearing up the property, getting it level, ready for the buildings, getting the building pads all put together, trenching, septic, where the septics are all going to go, moving water tanks around, the electrical, and then the kitchen and the pre-kindergarten or the pre-K will be our first part of our first phase, because those two projects are actually paid for right now. We have a grant and aid of $285,000 for the kitchen, and we have money. We just wrote another grant and aid for the pre-K through 4 buildings, so we just set that in. Excuse me.
And the next slide, I think, is on for. This is what Amelie was going through. Basically, we already received a 618 grant and aid, and then for the planning, design, and site preparation, $285,000 for the kitchen, and then we also have been approved for a $700,000 USDA rural development loan, which we like to add on slides and in grants to say that we have it and we hope to not use it because it's a loan. And then we also have a preschool. Basically, it's a federal grant to start the preschool, pays for the program, but of that, puts $76,000 toward toward basically retrofitting. So we can't build the building, but we can do a lot of the extra things that we need to do, like the fencing and painting and those kind of things. And like Amelie just said, we just put in a grant for pre-K through 4. We don't expect to receive all of it, so we expect to receive enough to at least build our pre-K. And then those other, those logos down there are because those are some of the organizations that we will also be going after for funding. And now I think we're ready to turn it over for our architect, Boone Morrison, and partners.
Well, good evening. Aloha. We come before you after a very long period of time in the studio. I was thinking about it this morning. My crew and I have put in about 1,500 hours since August working on the project. And before I go any further, I want to recognize some people. This kind of work is not done by one person. My name's on the door. I'm the architect of record, but I've got a fantastic crew. Seth Warner, many of you know him. He's my senior associate. He's a graduate of architecture school with a master's. We just dragged a buddy of his in from Singapore, Mickey Pang, up here in the front. Mickey joined us in January. He's also out of Washington State and was in Singapore for several years working out there. Fortunately for this presentation and for our office in general, Sage Warner, another one of the Warner tribe, is a very fine graphics designer and web designer. She's done our office website, and we grabbed her and asked her to help us out with some of the graphics for this presentation, as well as developing yet another website. So these young people, they're bright, they're highly skilled, they're motivated, and they're a great deal of fun to work with. I couldn't imagine a better game. I really couldn't. Thank you guys very much. They were up to 3 in the morning. The way the process of architecture goes, we start out with what's called programming. And that means we talk to the client, in this case, everybody who works at the school was talked to, was interviewed, lists were made, meetings were held, all manner of interchange went on to get an idea in our minds what exactly was needed. Now, Seth and I have a tremendous leg up. His mother's been teaching at the school for a number of years. My wife's been teaching at the school for a number of years. We already had a tremendous grounding in the culture of this school. I've lived in Volcano Village 45 years. Seth was born on the mountain, down in Mountain View. We know this place. So right there is 2 pieces of information that I believe no other architect could brought to the job. Out of that came what's referred to as schematic design. Scribble. How about this idea? How about that idea? They were shared back and forth with the committee. A couple of times we had meetings with larger groups. That work moved along, got to a point where people were saying, yeah, that's pretty close. We then went into what is called design development, in which we tightened up each one of these scribbles, answered a lot of questions that we had developed in the course of it, and came up with a group of buildings. As Kalima said, the school is place-based, and the buildings are curriculum-based. These are buildings to teach in, not just buildings to sit here. They have a purpose. Their purpose is to teach in. They need to follow the basic mission of the school as well as the curriculum does. So we're looking at buildings which are in scale with this village, no big monolithic buildings. We're looking at buildings that are typical of the villages and the communities from which the students come. Some of the schools you see are concrete block and stucco monoliths that look like a prison. And you get kids coming from a place like Pahala or Mountain View. That's just so foreign to them. So we try to work in design themes that were from this area. They're tried and true. I mean, these buildings, some of the old ones around here, like the one we're in, have been here a very long time. They've held up well. They've served really well. This is a beautiful room. This is a tremendous clue as to how to design nice rooms for Volcano. Out of that came what you see now. 27,000 and some change square feet. We have this building, the historic building, which of course will be retained. Eventually it will be restored, cleaned up. Some of the accretions that have been added over time will be removed. So we'll return this back to its original, closer to its original configuration. Out out here in this area, of course, the new loop road goes around. Just behind this building will be the new preschool, a small building in character with this one. And then going down the line in a clockwise direction, okay? We come down preschool. This is kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th, 7, 8. So this is middle school. This is elementary school. Here's Annalise kitchen and a service area. And this is something that we need desperately. Covered large space. A multi-purpose building. Gymnasium, a place to gather, all manner of things. In a climate where it ranges to 140 inches a year, every square foot of iron roof is to be honored. This is the administrative building, which contains all the office functions, conference room, and some of the special things. The counselor's in there, SPED is in there, special education people. And there's also, oddly enough, extra space for some kind of as yet unknown administrative need. I've never run into an administrative situation that didn't need more space for something, even temporarily. So we provided a couple of spaces for that. I'm feeling strong about it. I think this could be a tremendous addition to the village. I really do. One of the things that is in the basic underlying premise behind this school is that it is a learning village. And I think that's a tremendous concept. We are a village, but there's something else about that word village. I think those of us who grew up in small towns, and I did, understand that there's a way that villages are. There's a way that people treat each other in a village that is different than a larger community. Enmity and empathy. Enmity is New York City. You're separated from everybody. You don't give a damn. There's too many people to deal with. Empathy, on the other hand, is you reach out to the people around you. The village I grew up in, Mill Valley, California, if I had fallen off my bike doing my paper route and was hurt, somebody would stop and pick me up. At the same time, if I nipped an apple from the general store, by the time I got home, my dad would know. And that kind of village mentality is something unique and to be treasured. So we tried to bring that into the school. Look, there's the village green. Surrounded by the classrooms, becomes the center of energy. This is a gateway into our village green. It's ceremonial, in a sense. It's also a way to get trucks and stuff in if we need to. But it's a thing where, let's say, we're having a mating event, or a makahiki event, or something of that nature. We gather, we have tents and so on around on the lawn. People arrive, they can come in through that gateway, and they make an entrance. It's a placeness. And that's the thing that I think is so missing in so much of the architecture we see. It has no quality of place. Well, we wanted the school to be a place, and we hope we got it. We won't know for a few years till we get it all built, and the teachers are teaching in it, and the kids are experiencing it, and I get to dodder by and say, oh, I'm really hopeful that it works. I think it will. I truly think it will. I've built a lot of stuff, and I've watched it work. I've watched a few that didn't work. And I've watched a lot of things that other people built that didn't work. Hopefully you learn from these things. And I'm feeling good. I feel real good about where we're at. We've got a way to go. Now starts the drudgery. Sorry, guys. We have to sit down and produce what's called construction documents. You might call them the blueprints. There will probably be, between us and the engineers, pushing 100 sheets. So big. Basically, a complete set of instructions. Every nail, every screw, every piece that goes into the building will be drawn, specified, and laid out. That's the drudgery work. You guys can go have some fun, and we'll go do the work quietly on our own. I also wanted to express my thanks to the administration and the boards that are involved here for giving me and these young people who work with me the opportunity to do a project like this. This is a very important project for us in our growth as architects and designers. And I think for Mickey and Seth particularly, Sage too, but she's not in architecture per se. But for these two guys who are heading toward becoming architects, great experience for us. And they wouldn't have had it if you guys hadn't hired us. So, mahalo for that. If you got any questions, anything I can help with, just throw it out there and I'll try.
I was concerned about sports.
Yeah?
So is there an area where there's like basketball or tennis courts or?
No, there's no tennis court, we have no room. We have 3.25 acres, and we need 5.5. There you have it. So, yeah, well, the basketball is inside the multi-purpose. And it'll be a half court. We don't have the luxury of space. We wish we did.
Parking?
We have plenty of parking.
Visitors?
Yeah. If you look at the site plan, this area is parking. And right across here, in front of the admin building, is what we refer to as in-out parking. So if you come for some reason to do a business with the administration, you would park there. If you're here for the day teaching, you would park in the main lot. Wow, no questions. So I figure either you never liked or I didn't explain it carefully enough.
Was wondering how many restrooms are proposed?
No, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. If you want, we can study the drawing here and you can see there's restrooms everywhere. There's handicap restrooms, there's regular restrooms, there's restrooms in each of the school buildings, there's restrooms in the, they're all.
This campus is designed to hold 200 students.
Yeah, 200. 200 students and what's it, 40 faculty and staff eventually. So we're loaded up. We do have criteria. I don't want to bore you with this. The unfun part of architecture is the regulatory envelope into which we have to work. They got a regulation for things you didn't know existed, let alone knew that were roof. The number of bathrooms, the type of fixtures, the number of fixtures, the distance between the bathroom and the classroom, it's endless and it's all mandated and we've met it all. The entire campus has to be ADA. Your 97-year-old grandmother could make her way around this campus unaided. So we're following the rules. They're huge. They do impact us in some ways occasionally that we don't really like. But that's when you find out if you're in business. If you can fit within the rules and do what they need to do and at the same time hold on to the aesthetic principle that you have in mind. Sometimes it's not easy, but that's what we do. Yeah.
I see you have a lot of passive lighting to this skylight, but I don't see any solar panels or anything like that.
Well, we didn't put them on because we don't know how many they're going to be. There's going to be a heck of a lot. The intention is that the school will run as close to 100% on renewable electric energy as we can. We started some research into the stuff that's being done by Elon Musk at Tesla. They're putting out some real cutting-edge stuff. It's early in the game. They're not ready yet. It so happened I was in Honolulu on whatever day it was recently, a couple of days ago, talking with a fellow there who has the second Tesla battery storage system in Hawaii, just installed at his house. And he said, it's wildly good. Understandably, Elko hates it. Elko won't work with it. And so we have an unfortunate dichotomy in this state on which we have Elko saying, yes, renewable energy, we're going to go green, and at the same time, doing everything they can on the backside to block people. Excuse me, there's something wrong. Anyway, we're going for 100% PV if we can. We're going for hydronic heating in the classrooms, which will be hot water circulating in the slabs, and that'll be powered with solar panels. We're going to try for battery backup eventually for the electric. Tesla's not ready yet, but they're getting there. Those guys are pushing hard. And I think by the time, we're looking at a progressive cycle of building buildings here. We're not going to build these all at one time. I think by the time we get pretty deep into the construction, we're going to begin to see this stuff become available. That's one of the reasons we aren't showing any panels. That's why we're not designing for today's systems. Because I firmly believe that all the signs indicate these systems in 3 years, 5 years, will be entirely different than we currently see them. For example, Tesla is now manufacturing roof shingles that are PV panels. They're now, I read of, and I'm looking into it, there is now glazing material, glass, that is being installed vertically on high-rises that is the PV panel that transmits light. So you see the skylights. Imagine if the skylights were transmitting light, also collecting PV. So this is the kind of stuff that's right out there, not quite within arm's reach, and we want to be open to it. So we don't know what we're gonna end up with. And we don't quite know when, but we know we're gonna end up with something very different than what we see today. I hope so. I mean, I'm looking forward to the opportunity.
I think Joan had a question. I saw Joan's hand earlier.
I think it was answered, it was about, many of the classrooms are on the second floor. How does this accommodate children with handicaps?
Oh, an elevator. An elevator.
A
We had
stairlater.
Well, we had initially thought a stairlater would do. It may be that for fire egress, an elevator becomes the best. That is one of the things that's up in the air right now. Not sure, but it's no problem. And the answer is, to correct, most of the classrooms is a misstatement. There's only 4 classrooms
I
upstairs.
meant somewhere.
There are 4 upstairs.
That's one of the options.
Is this locked in?
Yeah. Not for the current. Once you receive a permit, the building regulation envelope that is in place on the date of that permit is now in force.
We couldn't hear the question and then.
Oh, the question is, having met the various requirements that are currently available, what happens if they change in time? The answer is they're going to change. They change constantly. However, as I just explained, once a building permit is cut, it has a date on it. Any regulation that is enforced as of that date prevails. Anything subsequent to that does not. So we don't get nailed with a regulation that changed. In other words, it's not retroactive, fortunately. Yeah.
I wondered if you might just say a little something. You talked about classrooms that are designed to have some flexibility, for teaching and
Sure.
teaching to our mission and vision.
Well, I think that this room is a really, really good example. This is a heck of a classroom. We discovered one thing that was really interesting. In terms of the way the teachers use the classrooms, a square room or nearly square room is more effective for them than a rectangular room. Who knew? There's a whole bunch of different reasons why that's true. I was unaware of that. But this is why you talk to the people that are going to be using the spaces and listen to them. That was totally new news. Second thing is, the amount of natural light in this room is one. It always feels bright. And those of us who live in Volcano, it gets gray and yucky around here at times. And that's why the skylights are so important. That's why good light is so important. Because I've come to believe that human beings are heliotropic. We're just like plants. It's a true fact. I mean, you go through, 4 or 5 weeks of steady rain. If you don't have a lot of light coming into your house, you're going to get wiggy. You don't get mean to your cat, things like that. I think the other thing is that, another interesting thing, we learned that a lot of teachers would prefer not having carpeting. That they want to be able to use rugs as how can I explain it, an area. It creates a space within a space to put a rug down. You can have kids moving around things over in one part of the room and sit down quiet things on the rug in another part of the room. I don't know about that. So, yeah,
Well, just maybe mentioning the breakout spaces and,
Oh, yeah.
and then the flexible walls in the second and the 2-story.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure how the flex space idea is going to play out. We've got some code issues that we're dealing with. We've got some technical issues we're dealing with. What we're heading for, if we can, is spaces on the second deck of the middle school that can be reconfigured with movable walls or folding panels. There's a number of approaches to that we're not quite sure what is best. We're looking into it right now. One of the key things, which you and I haven't talked about, are some code issues with the fire department. That, we're meeting about next week for that. But that's one piece right there. The other piece is, I don't remember when it was. Where's Stephanie? When did we tour the other campuses? Yeah. Was it summer? Yeah. A group of us took a run around the island to a whole bunch of different new charter schools. And one of the things we noticed was that there were spaces related to every classroom that a teacher could take a small group of kids into, or have a group of kids go into, to do either quiet stuff or noisier stuff while other kids were doing quiet stuff. Also, if you have a student who you need to sit down with them and talk one-on-ones, this space would be available. So, and particularly in the elementary grades is where it came up. So you'll notice in the plan that each 2 classrooms has a breakout space between them that's accessible to both the classrooms, either classroom can use.
And the primary reason is just to have breakout spaces for smaller group work, so when students need to work on different things, so when we differentiate.
The other thing that we were told by the teachers is they want a sink in their classroom. So all the classrooms now have sinks. So often, I've come to believe that one of the very most important things an architect needs to do is pay attention to people. Pay attention to how they use the spaces. Pay attention to what they grumble about. Part of what we do is problem solving. And so if you can discern what a problem is that a person is having, then we can attack it. We can solve it. If we don't know what the problem is, can't help them. So a lot of what we're doing here in this design is listening to problems, because if you visited the upper campus, you want to talk about problems. Okay, that place is one giant problem. And we're trying to solve all those problems in a rational and reasonable way on a site that's too small. Here we are, best we got. You're tired of listening to me.
Any other questions? So I guess we can eat and talk story, and I just want, I know we want our architect
Yes,
team
ma'am.
to eat. Also.
I do have one question, I might have missed this. Do you have an estimate of what the square footage is of indoor space versus square footage of outdoor space?
You remember that, Seth? We got 27,000 and some change indoor.
By outdoor space, you mean fields?
Play area, like where the kids can
The
actually,
inside part.
Yeah.
usable play area for the kids, however which way they want to use
So
it.
how big that play area is?
Those 27,000
He's
feet.
calculating right now.
Oh.
Give him a break. Unless you can do the math in your head.
It's about the same.
27,000 feet?
Yeah, 20, oh, the center field.
We can.
Are about 25, 27,000.
Kids break their arms.
Oh.
I mean, I went through life drinking out of a hose. I rode a bike. I played in a jungle gym, and I learned to ride a horse at 7 years of age, and I ain't dead yet. I'm sorry.
What was your question?
There's a jungle gym in the plans.
Okay, and it doesn't preclude that from being something.
No, there's no reason we
future
can't
if
do
we
it
want.
with DOE.
But it's not on what we're building right now.
The thing is now you have to have a very
What we're
special
gonna need to
service
fundraise
level
for.
of that area. You go down, well, Cooper Center's got a really nice,
Special fundraise.
and take a look at the way it's engineered.
With a cushion there.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Now that we've heard these great plans, it looks wonderful. We have a lot of parents and community members in the room. Besides the professionals, how can the community, parents, and those of us help?
Raise money,
Yes, yeah.
raise lots and lots of money.
Yes, we are, right now, what we're doing is we're getting our capital stack development plan, we're working on that, which is gonna be done probably in a couple of weeks. And then at that point, we'll be kicking off our capital campaign and our fund development. So definitely, certainly fundraising is huge, so helping out, certainly donations, very much appreciated, and then helping with those events is huge as
Getting the
well.
word out.
Yeah, and just
Talking to your friends,
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
We really need more community
And
support.
helping to promote the school as well. Yeah.
I would say too, if people have questions about the campus or concerns, really encourage them to call Kalima or call Amelie and get direct answers to their questions.
Stop the rumor mills. Lynn.
I have another question regarding that indoor area, because the outdoor area that's inside like a courtyard, which you said is about 27,000 feet. What about the acoustics in there? Because if you follow the same sort of program that you're doing here, which, 2 or 3 pods go out, or 2 or 3 grades go out and play while the other grades are in school, is there going to be some sort of acoustic problem in here that often occurs inside of courtyards where voices, rise right up? So is that going to be disruptive to all of the other classes?
Yeah, we've talked about having double pane windows and insulated walls, and that helps to dampen the sound from outside.
Secondary venting through the roofs so that doors don't need to be always open. So we're looking at different ways to control the sound from the field side.
Plus the land isn't, flat, so the buildings don't exactly sit directly across from each other, so it helps with bouncing the sound. And we do have some experience with that already, and it doesn't present a problem. Kim?
Actually, Joan just reminded me of one other way that people in the community can help and families from the school, and that is to serve on some of the committees.
Join the Friends?
Yes, please join the Friends Board, our governing board, or if there's a special event that you'd like to help plan, we can put that information in Volcano Community News and try to spread the word. And so your help in those ways is really appreciated.
Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
It's my favorite question. Any more questions? So we could just talk story, and I'm here, Boone's here, Emily's here. You can feel free to call us over if you want to something comes to you later that you want to ask. All right. Okay. Mahalo. Thank you all for coming.
Iku mau. Iku mama iku hululu ikulana val. Iku lana val. Iku mau. Iku mama iku hululu ikulana val. Iku lana val. Iku